Hey everybody, you have integrated 2 tests next week. It's about right triangles, all the assignments from this week, so you can use all the videos from this week to help you study. And I have a review that I'm going to be uploading onto the Google Classroom along with this video and one other. It's going to take 2 videos to go through this review. So this is the review for the test. It's similar, the problems are similar to the test. There's probably more problems that are on the test. So let's get started with this review. So the first thing we have here, it talks about geometric mean. So I have to look at my notes for geometric mean. It would help if you wrote down the formulas on a piece of paper so that you don't have to go to the videos, because if you keep going to the videos, it will take too long. Okay, so the geometric mean formula, notice x is diagonal, either this way or this way, and the 2 numbers they give you is in the other 2 spots. Okay, so geometric mean between 8 and 18, I have to set it up. So I have my fraction, and I know x goes in 2 spots, and then I put the 2 numbers in the other 2 spots. So then I cross multiply. Now cross multiplying gets rid of the fractions, it doesn't make another fraction. So I have x times x, which makes x squared. And then I have 8 times 18, so I have to use my calculator. 8 times 18 is 144. So now that I have x squared equals 144, to get rid of the square, we do the square root. And then the square root of 144 is 12. Oops, I was going to write is. Okay, equals 12. There we go. So x equals 12. If you do the square root on the calculator, so I have to use my inverse x squared button, gives me that radical right there. So I do the radical of 144. It's 12. If I got a decimal for that, and this doesn't say I can have decimals, then I need to simplify the radical. So if you get a decimal when you do the square root, that means you have to break out twins. And I got a whole number, so I don't have to worry about breaking out twins, because the twins are 12 and 12. So the next problem, 20 and 25. So I put x and x in 2 spots. 20 and 25 go in the other 2 spots. So when I cross multiply, x times x is x squared equals 20 times 25, 500. Then to get x alone, we do the square root. And if I do the square root of 500, I get a decimal. That means it's not a perfect square, so I have to break out twins. So remember, to break out twins, you have to factor it out. Now, 500 is 20 times 25, so I might as well just split it up like that. 20 is 4 times 5. That gets rid of 20. 25 is 5 times 5. I notice I have twin 5s, and these 2 don't have twins, so they go back in. So the twin 5s break out. So I get my x equals, my twin 5s break out. They break out, so they're out, not back in. These 2 do not break out, so they're in. And to put them back together, they make 20. Oh, wait, I didn't do that right. 4 can still break down. 4 is 2 times 2, so it's a good thing these are erasable. Okay, so that's something to watch out for. You want to make sure to break them down all the way. So I was thinking I knew 20 had something that could break out. Now that I broke it down all the way, I didn't break it down all the way before, I have 2 and 5 that breaks out. And so to put them together, we multiply. 5 breaks out here, 2 breaks out here, so 2 times 5 is 10. And then this 5 does not break out, so it's radical 5. So 10 radical 5. And that's the geometric mean. Okay, then you're going to have some problems where you have to find the geometric mean this way. So I gave you a trick on the video saying, well, look for the main right angle, the major right angle, the big right angle, the right angle for the whole picture. So that would be that right angle right there. Okay, and there's 3 lines at that right angle. We have this line, which is Z. So each of those 3 lines, whatever's on that line, goes twice. Okay. Then I have this line is one of the 3 lines that touch this right angle. So Y and Y, because Y is on the line. Okay, and then the last one, okay, that has an X on it. So I set it up. X and X. Okay, so to find the 2 numbers, I'll start with, since none of these are numbers, they're all variables, doesn't matter which letter we start with. So I'm going to start with Z. If you remember in my video, I talked about hops. Z touches the hypotenuse here at the end of the line, that's 6. So if I do a hop to the next intersection, that hop is 6 long. And then I have to go back to Z and do another hop to the next intersection after that. So that hop is 6 and 4 long, and 6 and 4 make 10. So that hop is 10 spaces long. And then what we would do is cross multiply and solve. So we get Z squared equals 60. So that was cross multiplying, and I square root. Let's go over here, 60. It's 10 times 6, which is 2 times 5, which is 3 times 2. Those break out. 5 and 3 are left behind. So I get Z equals, the 2's break out, just a 2. 5 and 3 are left behind, so you multiply them back together, and you get 15. So 2 radical 15. Now Y is the middle line, so we do the hops from Y. So starting at Y, go to one intersection, and that hop is 4 spaces long. I could put 4 in either one of those 2 blank spaces. Then I go back to Y, and I do the other hop, and that hop is 6 long. So I put 6 there, cross multiply, and solve. So I get Y squared equals 6 times 4 is 24. So when I square root 24 was 6 times 4. 4 is 2 times 2, and that one is 3 times 2. Pair of 2's break out. 3 and 2 left behind. So pair of 2's break out. 3 and 2 left behind. Okay, last one, and these are the hardest problems. Oh, I get if you struggle with these, because I struggle with these. They're not bad if you set it up like this and you do the hops for color coding if you have 3 colors. So X is the red line. Okay, we do the hops from there. So starting at the X line, the hops on the hypotenuse, the first hop was 4 spaces long. So I put a 4. I go back to my X line. We always start at the line that we're working on. So back to my X line, and we do the other hop across the hypotenuse, and that hop was 4 and 6 long. So 4 and 6 make 10. Then when you cross multiply, and then the square root of 40. Okay, pair of 2's break out. 2 and 5 left behind. So we get X equals a pair of 2's break out. 2 and 5 left behind, so 2 times 5 is 10. When you're putting them back together, you have to re-multiply them. I forgot to show my work here. Okay. Number 4, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to identify our main right angle. This is not the main right angle because this is not a corner of the whole picture. This would be our main right angle. And then we have our 3 lines. So let me do this one. I have my green line here. Z and Z. Okay. My next line, the line that goes through, is called an altitude. So I set it up. There's a 10 on that altitude instead of a variable, so I'm going to put 10 twice. Okay. And then the third line at the right angle is called a Y, so I'll set that up. Y and Y. Okay. So now that we did that part, oh, we need to do our hops. So it does matter in this case which one we start with. You want to start with the one that has a number if there are any. Like we didn't have any numbers over here starting with where it repeated in the 2 spaces. Here Z repeats, Y repeats, but 10 also repeats, and that's where we're going to start. We're going to start with 10. So we do our hops. So from 10, we hop to one end of the hypotenuse, and that length is X. And then going back to 10, and we're going to hop to the other side of the hypotenuse, and that hop was 25. So when you cross multiply, 25x equals 100. 10 times 10 is 100. And then solving for x, divide by 25. So we get x equals 4. So now that I know x equals 4, I could actually plug that in here because I'm going to be using x again. So instead of using x, I want to use the 4. So now it doesn't matter. Now that I know what x is, I can find either y or z. It doesn't matter. I can go alphabetical. I can go how I wrote it. I'm going to do y first this time. So going from the y line, doing my hops, my first hop across the hypotenuse is just spans x. Well, I know x is 4, so I'm going to write 4 instead of x. Okay. Going back to my y line, because I'm working on the y equation, the red equation, so I want to go back to my red line, my y line. Doing the hop across the hypotenuse, it's 4 and 25. So, and they're put together, that's addition. So 4 plus 25 is 29. And then you cross multiply. So I get y squared equals whatever 4 times 29 is. 116. Now I know 29's a prime number, so I know that this is not a perfect square. So it's not 29 times 29. So when I do 116 to see what breaks out, because I have to do the square roots of both sides, so I can get y, I have to break it down. I know that 116 was 4 times 29. 29 is prime. 4 is 2 and 2. 2's break out. 29 left behind has nothing to break out with it. So now y is 2 radical 29. Now for z. Z is green, my green line. Z is this line. This is my z line. So now the hops on the hypotenuse. Well, my first hop always has to start at z. I could hop all the way, or I could hop the little hop. I usually do the little hop first, personally, just because it's faster. I have 25 there on that hop. And then going from my z spot all the way to the other end of the hypotenuse. That was 25 and 4 together. That makes 29. So when I cross multiply, I get z squared equals, and then I use my calculator, 25 times 29, 725. Well, that's a big number, and I know I have to do the square root to get just z. Now I didn't have to do the square root here because it wasn't x squared. I do have to do square root here because it's z squared. So you want to make sure there's a difference, to know there's a difference. This is when not to do the square root. This is when you do the square root. So 725. I know it's 25 times 29. 25 is 5 and 5. So, pair of 5s. 29 does not break out. So we get z equals, our pair of 5s break out, 29 does not. 5 radical 29. And I know I said I was only going to do 2 videos, but just looking at how long it took me to just do the geometric mean part, I'm going to go ahead and stop here. I'll probably make 3 videos. We'll see how long the second one takes or how far I get. So this is just the geometric mean parts. Okay, that's like probably the first 4 or 5 questions of the test. I believe there's 2 of those and 2 of those. One like this where all 3 variables are there, and one like this where one of the variables is on the hypotenuse. Okay, so they're similar. And also watch out for if it asks for simplified radical, because I believe there are some problems that ask for decimals. So watch out. Make sure you do pay attention to whether it's the nearest tenth or the nearest hundredth or the nearest thousandth. So just pay attention to what the question is asking. Okay, so this is it for this video, and I'm going to go ahead and stop.